Excluding trans women from women's sports is like excluding black women from women's sports. This lady is a professor of philosophy. And I use the word lady very lightly. Okay, I think we all know what I mean. They believe that excluding trans women from sports is like excluding black women from sports. Rachel McKinnon, a biological male who transitioned to female and placed first in a women's cycling world champion in October, has been making more headlines as of late. Earlier this week, McKinnon blasted former swimmer Sharon Davies, who won an Olympic silver medal for Great Britain in 1980, for daring to say that those with a male sex advantage shouldn't be allowed to compete in women's sports. How dare she? McKinnon tweeted that Davies is transphobic, and in a separate tweet accused the former Olympian of sharing hate speech. First off, hate speech isn't a thing. You just have speech. And in this scenario, it isn't hate speech. It's a scientific, logical speech. It is actual scientific speech. On the heels of ripping Davies and Navratilova, McKinnon, who's also a philosophy professor at the College of Charleston in South Carolina, added a doozy. Excluding trans women from the women's sport is akin to excluding black women from women's sports. Okay, so she is trying to say, if you try to say a trans woman shouldn't be allowed to compete against regular women, it's akin to saying black women shouldn't be allowed to compete against women. How much more racist and bigoted and ridiculous can you get? I don't think much. She goes on to say, on the heels of ripping Davies and Navratilova, McKinnon, who's also a philosophy professor at the College of Charleston, South Carolina, added a doozy. If Sharon Davies, Paula Radcliffe, or Martina Navratilova had said we need to keep black women out of the sport to protect it and the integrity of women's sports, that would be obviously racist. That's why it's obviously transphobic to exclude trans women now, not name-calling. How is that even remotely the same? While some Twitter users responded to McKinnon's declaration, others weren't buying it. False equivalence, and you know it. From which gender do black women transition to become women? Your lack of common sense is astonishing, right? You are saying that the biological difference between a black and a white woman are comparable to the biological differences between a trans woman and a cis woman? One of these users on here kind of got after her, and it almost looks like they might be trans too. Leo Roisman said this. Dr. McKinnon, I agree with you overall. Really? You do? You agree with him overall? But it's really inappropriate for you to invoke a racist trope to make the analogy. Our society has a long history of undermining and calling into question the femininity of black women specifically. Why would you add to that? Because I'm straightforwardly showing how it's the same playbook. That should be obvious. The very point, no, it's totally not obvious, actually. And maybe in your crazy philosophical mind, it's straightforward, but it's in normal people's minds, it's really not. The very point is that the society has been long undermining black femininity. Look at how Serena is treated. I understand that, but when we're under attack, drawing that analogy just invites people to dismiss the gender and humanity of black women as well. It's pulling them into a line of fire. No, it's not. It's not doing that at all. To show the structural similarities and oppression of minoritized bodies. Don't know how I can speak. Do you think that's appropriate for you as a white woman to make that an argument? When done right, yes. Yes, I do. Because I am a social justice trans woman, and I rank very high on the intersexuality, victimization scale. And yes, I basically do think that's just fine for me to make that. To which Leo Roisman said, "Okay, fair enough. I appreciate the respect I appreciate and respect your advocacy. I just know you have a large platform, and I worry that you're exposing both cis and trans black women to unnecessary scrutiny and drawing that parallel. But you're the expert, though, so it's obviously not my call. Thanks for listening." So basically, what old Loy's, what was his name? Leo did here is he did the old appeal to authority example. You know, appeal to authority is a common type of fallacy. It's an argument based around completely unsound logic. Basically, it's when, writers or speakers or whoever use an appeal to authority, they're claiming that something must be true simply because the person who said it is quote unquote an authority on the subject. And this Leo Roisman had Dr. Rachel McKinnon kind of dead to rights if she would have kept going at her, or him going at him, her. I don't know. Leo looks a little bit like maybe he's, I don't know. But Leo could have been going, he should have kept going at McKinnon, because he was absolutely, completely 100% on par with, well, not 100%. Some of the stuff he said I was thinking a little bit off, but for the most part, he was on par in saying what he was saying. And then he just backed off because the whole appeal to authority, he got weak and couldn't do it. But she said, trans women are women. No, they're not. They're not women. That's the thing of which we're arguing right now, is no, they're absolutely not women. You can pretend like you're a woman, and you can feel like you're a woman, and you can act like you're a woman, and you can be womanly and feminine and everything else, and that's fine. I really don't care about trans people if they want to be trans. That's totally your choice. But when you say trans women are women, no, not in the scientific biological stance, you're not. That's just science. You can't disprove it. And I can absolutely prove it. There's XX chromosomes and there's XY chromosomes. You're not a woman. You may feel like a woman. You may totally Shania Twain it and feel like a woman, but that doesn't make you a woman. Trans men are men. No, they're not. No, they're definitely not. And in that, if trans men are men, what about this Nikki Jolie that just burned down her house? I did a little parody burning down the house. Here's a little thought on that. She's getting arrested, or she's been arrested, and she's going to prison. So should she go? She has a vagina. Should she go into the male prison? Would that be fair to her? Go into the male prison? You don't think she's going to get... Dudes get raped in prison. She's absolutely getting raped. I guess it's a he. Wants to be called a he. Nikki Jolie is a he. But he's getting raped. Right? So should he go to a women's prison, or should he go to a male prison? But at any rate, man, it's one of those scenarios where it's hilarious to me.